Hi all, in this episode of Total Proa Build from Balkan Shipyards, show you where we got to. We've done quite a few things and trying to get him done, hoping to go for sea trials in about 10 days, I don't know, come sort of mid-September, and may the force be with us. Here he is. So yeah, non-skid everywhere, so I can walk all over him. So here we are working on the deck, really strong, really happy, and been thinking a lot about this deck. I couldn't really come up with a lighter way to make it, but it weighs about 13 kilos. And the length is 215 meters by width 115. It's big enough for my tent, and I'm pretty pleased with it. Here, I'll show you how it's made. So the planks are 24 centimeters wide, 4 millimeters thick, poplar ply, and then these guys, the battens are 17 millimeters wide by 25 high. Glued on with polyurethane. These are 60 millimeters high spruce, 37 by 20 at the top. I did that to save a little bit of weight. Pretty light. I'm pretty happy. I believe that for the size, 13 kilos is pretty fair. Now I've put on rubber chocks. And I'll move to the other side. I'll put on rubber chocks that are fixing all these guys on both sides, and they prevent, these rubber chocks prevent these ones moving this way and that way, and they also help to square up the boat. Then underneath I've got plywood chocks, 12 millimeters thick, piece of NBR glued and screwed onto the front. All these chocks are glued and screwed, and they work really well. They help me fix things in place. Now the way so these are going to be lashed on. That's just a quick lashing. It looks like nothing, I agree. So they're going to get lashed on, and then the planking is going to be tied on with cable ties. There they are. So there's going to be 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on every piece of planking, so it's going to be 5. I don't think you need another one in the middle, but if I feel like I'm not happy with 5, I'll put on 6. That's no big deal. Another thing I did was I put on these little plywood chocks now everywhere, and they hold the space, they hold the planking apart, 7 centimeters. That's the gaps, and basically this squares up the boat. Of course there'll be a little bit of movement, I mean, because nothing's tight, but it pretty much squares up the boat. It's very square, it has perfect diagonals, all has been measured, and it's really square. So if this is fitting into all its chocks this way and that way, and everything's chocked and everything's lashed and everything's tied down and everything's like that, that should fix the squareness between Ama and Vaka. Another thing that I'm working on now is I want to have a small safety net, Now things get really complicated because I want to have a sculling ore coming off the back. In crystal clear, my sculling ore used to go inside the safety net. There was a hole in the safety net and the ore would go down through, and the safety net was big. But that's kind of shit because you can't just stand on your sculling ore and lift it out of the water anymore because it hits up against the net. So I managed somehow to get, if my safety net, baby safety net, comes under the akkers, then, and my sculling ore will be connected onto this, things work out. The sculling ore has enough room to move, it's out of the safety net, and this safety net really is just to help us get out of the tent because the door of the tent is going to be here, so there's no way to get out. So you kind of creep onto the one side and step down into the net or something and get off. And then it's also nice to have it for when you come in onto the bow and you want to tie the anchor off, or you tie yourself to the key or whatever you're doing. It's nice to have a safety net on the one side so you can put one knee in there, kind of hold on to the head stay, put a knee in there, put a knee on here, and it kind of, I don't know, feels a little bit safer. Okay, so now we have to put some non-skid on the hatches so I can walk on them, and I'm going to put some on the boat and I'm going to put some on the deck. So basically I'm going to make it myself. It's just cheaper, I guess. So yeah, you put masking tape and you're making a design or whatever you want to do, you know, and you just do it any way you want to do. On the big hatch I'm putting it only on the sides because I prefer to not walk in the middle. On these hatches I'm basically going to have 3 lines, a triangle and 2 lines on the side. Now I've done a bunch of tests. Okay, so sand can be used, sugar can be used, and salt can be used. I think sugar will just become really sticky for a week, and I don't feel like having a sticky boat. Sand I think is heavy. Basically the material has to dissolve. The sugar or the salt, they actually dissolve, they go away actually, and they don't stay in the paint. They go, the water takes them. But then you have a rigid surface because of where the material was lying before. Whereas sand stays there and therefore adds weight. So this is acrylic outdoor paint. What I painted the boat with, not good. It just doesn't stick. It doesn't even. There's nothing. It's just like really smooth. This is the 2-pack acrylic. Very nice. I don't know if you can really see. I didn't put enough salt. I put only a little bit, but it's nice. It's gritty. Feels good. And this is another acrylic test. Again, didn't work. So the only acrylic that works for me is the 2-pack stuff, the blue stuff. So that's how I'm going to work now. Now this works well. This is an alkyd paint, and yeah, this is like sandpaper. But I don't feel like waiting for this stuff to set and dry, and it's an oil base, it takes a while. I don't feel like it. I just prefer, might as well work with this acrylic over this, and it's all good. This is a gloss paint, gloss acrylic, so it's very, very important to give it a good sand. 220 is enough, and then it helps to blow it all away. Once I paint, then I just take the salt, try to put on a thick layer. I use a paintbrush, not a roller, and it's just as simple as this. You can't really put too much because whatever's not supposed to be there will just flake off tomorrow once it all dries up. And you see over here, like, the salt's gone blue, and that's what you want, and that's what happens basically everywhere. The white stuff on top is just because it's too much, but doesn't matter. So yeah, basically just fill it up, get it everywhere, and you're all ready to go. You want to have it white, and once the paint dries tomorrow, then you just brush off the excess. And once you go surfing, sailing, because that's what we used to do on windsurfs. So yeah, and so once you go sailing, then the seawater will just take away all the salt, and you're just left with a gritty surface, and it's nice. That's pretty good. Once done, it should look lovely like this. So what I do is I throw a lot of salt, and then I pour it all off over there, for example, and then I can see if there's places where I should add a touch, you know what I'm saying? And I look at it, and if I like it, then I just leave it. But if I want it, then I'll throw a little bit more salt, like here or somewhere else, and that kind of stuff. But that's the effect you want to get to. So this is the next day, everything's dry. Now I can peel off the duct tape, the masking tape, and just peel till you get to this. So this is all the non-skid, salty. The loose salt all falls off, but I'm going to put them all in the sun now so the paint gets really hard, and then I'll brush it off later on. And once we get to the sea, I might even wash it a little bit with fresh water over here before I go sailing, but that's no big deal. And here's the hatches themselves. So like I said, you can't really put too much because the excess will just fall off. And the point is that the salt actually dissolves in the water, and you're left with gritty paint, and that's the non-skid. Non-skid on the hull, I want it basically everywhere. This lead pod is very strong, and I walk on it usually when I'm shunting, so the whole thing is going to be non-skid. This also, and that for tying the anchor on and stuff like that. It's nice stepping on that thing. What I want to speak about is, so I don't measure and I don't mark and I don't do anything. I just run along with my sticky tape, and I use the material, I use the tape to measure. So say I start one width tape off, so I just look at the tape one width off, and then I run a line, yes, and then I'll do another one width off the bottom, so I might put one down and then a second one, and that kind of stuff. There's no reason to measure. And then, you know, I put one here and I put one there, and then I come up with some design, and I just try to divide things into 3s, into 5s, into 6s, into 7s, into whatevers, and you just run your lines. So if you're starting wide at the top, you've divided it somehow, and you finish narrow at the bottom, and you've done that also, and it's just freestyle, you know. But it actually comes out really nice, gives nice effects, you know. So everything's divided roughly, and just use your imagination, it's no big deal. But what I do is, I ran out of sticky tape, so I have to go to the shop now and get more. So that's why I stopped to make a video. But what I do is, before I'm 100% sure, I just put the stuff down and I just press it down, you know, on both ends. I don't stick it down, so I can still lift it up and move it and stuff. So that's how I usually work. And then when I'm happy and I look at it and I say cool, then I just come along and glue it down. I'm happy with this, that's why. So, but I'll stop to show you guys. So this is good, okay? So then we just glue it all down and you're ready to go. So I'm going to the shop, get more stuff. Another thing is, I just want to say this, it's important to have channels in your in the paint, okay, in the non-skid paint, because the non-skid will hold water, and you don't want it holding water on your hull. That water will get through, that water will cause problems. So you want to have as many channels as possible for the water to run down. So that's actually basically what I'm doing over here. It also comes out nice, but it's really important to have channels for the water to run off. That's it. So I can walk all over him. And okay, over there I haven't taken off the masking tape yet. Over here I have. I was just curious, you know, anxious, so I just pulled it off. The paint's not hard yet, but I'm happy with that. Deck's completely done. I like that. Very light deck. This deck weighs about 13 kilos. The big pieces of pine and all those 7 boards all come to 13 kilos. And for the size, it's okay. It's pretty fair. And safety net comes on this. So I've still got a little bit of work over here. Add on another 2 so I can hang my safety net on them. Here's my AD scull. I've extended it. So there's a lot of scarfing over here, and I got a little bit wild, but there just wasn't another way, because I had to make it longer, and I had to change the angle of the handle a little bit. And basically it's gonna get connected over there. I've carved away a little bit of that, so now I'm gonna mount on a piece of stainless steel with a little bushing, and the AD scull slides into that. Yeah, getting him ready to do all the final details now. So looking into sheeting angles. Yeah, I just kicked the bucket. Looking at sheeting angles and stuff. So there's a cam cleat. I think that's okay. So it can take my endless line. For the endless line I made these guys out of stainless steel. Supposed bolted on with a nut on the inside and 1 screw over here just for fun. And basically endless line goes through and pulls the tack up against the gunnel over here. And then if this would be my endless line, so it pretty much, it's okay. It's happy with that. And then main sheet block will be lashed on over here, and that works too. From here to the cam cleat, it's okay, it's a good angle. So that worked out, I'm happy with that. I was a little bit worried about that, but it worked out. I'm gonna have to strengthen now this deck, this one and the opposite one over there. I'm gonna have to put a piece on top and a piece under and bolt it all through and make sure it's really strong.